Good evening to everybody. Welcome to the Street Hunters bi-weekly hangout we call the pub. And we're lucky enough this week to have a photographer from New York whose work is visceral, it is intense, and it's well, for me it is absolutely delicious. Welcome Khalik Allah to the hangout.
Peace, thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Spyros, Casper, Andrew, Street Hunters.
Welcome.
Welcome indeed.
It's an honor to have you here, mate.
No problem, man. I'm thankful that that I'm here with you.
We've all had, because we do all definitely follow you on the social medias airwaves. But it's for viewers that don't necessarily know you as well as we do. For you, where did it start? I know you're a videographer as well, make films. Was the still camera an extension, or was the video camera an extension from taking photos?
I started out with videos. I started out, I was always pretty much into cameras from a young age. And my mother, when I was 14, she bought me a Super 8, well, really a high 8 camera, and shot on those, high 8 tapes, those videotapes.
Yeah.
And basically, I just kind of like grew from there. Like that camera, I went everywhere with it. If I was breakdancing or if I was skateboarding or whatever I was doing, I brought that camera with me. And then, to fast forward, quite a bit. 2010, I had finished a 4-year film project. I was working with Wu-Tang at the time. I was doing a documentary on a guy named Papa Wu, and it took me 4 years to complete that film,
Yeah.
And I was just like tired afterwards. I was like, fuck, like, yo, I gotta just sit back and just chill for a little while. But me and Jizza, had became friends while I was making that movie, and he was coming out here one day. And, I said to my brother, I'm like, yo, Jizza's coming out here, do you mind if I borrow your camera to take some, it was a still camera.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I borrow your still camera to take some pictures. And he was like, nah, I don't let people borrow my stuff like that. I'm like, yo, I'm your brother, man. Like, man, I can't borrow your camera. And I work in the television business. I work with $100,000 switchboards and all sorts of bypass switches and stuff like that. I'm a technician. So I was like, yo, I'm not gonna break your camera, B. But he wouldn't let me borrow it. And I just came to my room and I was sitting down, I was thinking about it. I was a little upset. And I remember my dad used to have like a family camera that he would use to take portraits of all of us, Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna ask him for it. And sure enough, he had it. It had dusty. It was all like, old. And basically, he was like, yo, you can have it. So, the first thing I did is, I opened it up and I made sure there was film in it. And, I didn't know that you're not supposed to expose the film to, So I took that camera.
I get you.
Yeah, me and Jizzle, we hung out that day, and, all those pictures were black. So basically after that though, like I came home and I thanked my brother. I was like, listen, man, it's all love, man. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for being that way. Even though I didn't know at that time, you being, what I considered selfish kind of prompted me to become a photographer, because that camera was a Canon AE1. Not even the program, just a straight up Canon AE1. And when I was holding it, like the metal, the weight, the lens, the fact that it needed film, that in itself drew me into it. So that was 2000. That was like August 2010, and ever since then, I've just been taking. Obviously, I evolved and developed myself and developed my concepts and ideas, but that's what drew me into photography.
And about the concepts and ideas, because you have a particular look, and I think it's very cinematic. Is that where you draw inspiration from? Because I always think it's wise to draw from outside photography. Is that where it comes from?
Yeah, it's definitely. supposed to be cinematic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want to take my photos to a level where, you know, and you heard other photographers say this, but I want, you know, my photographs to play off each other. I want you to look at them like a scene, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, obviously I started out as a filmmaker, so I already had my filmmaker sensibilities intact. You know,
Yeah.
and I took that and projected that into my photography. But the style that I have now is an evolution of, you know, my earlier black and white work when I was just studying, you know, Cartier-Bresson and Robert Frank and all of the great photographers of the world, and I was just studying them and really trying to emulate them. But after a while, I'm like, yo, you know, they're no better than me. Like, why am I trying to be like them? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
Yeah.
I gotta really, you know, write my own signature on the photography world. You know, I gotta put my own fingerprint in the game. And that's when I decided, after a lot of contemplation, to shoot prom. You know.
And so they. No, I shall catch up in a second. So the cinematography is where it's going to go. Do you see any further evolution with it? Is there something that you're working through now, or is 125th and Lexington where it really is at for you at the moment?
Listen, nothing in this world is forever, and everything is temporary here. You know what I mean? And everything is, you know, Harlem is changing. That whole area is changing. You know what I'm saying? That term gentrification is being thrown all over Harlem because it's changing so much. But what I want to do is just document it until I can't anymore. And also, a lot of people don't know, because the people that follow me online on Tumblr, on Facebook, and, you know, through Flickr or whatever, I'm only putting out that work. Trust me, I'm still shooting black and white. I'm still shooting during the daytime, but I'm not really pumping that work into the internet. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not only on 125th and Lexington, but that's just the story that I've been really releasing. You know?
Yeah.
You know, I just released a film from Jamaica that was shot during the daylight, in the daytime. So, you know, I'm doing other things, you know what I'm saying? But I don't give a fuck. In 40 years, I'll still come back and shoot Lexington Avenue.
Yeah.
128th Street, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. But I shall just throw open the questions to my learned colleagues from Street Hunters. Andrew Spiros?
Right on. And that Jamaica film is beautiful, by the way, Khalik. I watched that. It's incredible. Great piece of work, man. Can you explain the concept of camera ministry?
Yeah, camera ministry is the term I came up with because it designates what I do and my purpose. I mean, photography to me is just an excuse. Photography in you know, its position and its place in the world is not the most pivotal thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? The world is sick. The mind of the people needs healing. You know what I mean? And before I ever, you know, picked up a camera or started taking photography or filmmaking seriously, it was always about righteousness. You know, it was always about, you know, spiritual development. You know what I mean? And I'm blessed, I'm privileged to come from a family, even though I'm not a Christian, you know what I mean? I come from a Christian family that had me praying at a young age, always. You know what I'm saying? My grandfather, who you see in Jamaica, you know, he used to hold me in his arms when I was 2 or 3 years old and just pray over me. You know what I'm saying? So camera ministry is my form of that. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like coming into an impoverished neighborhood and blessing it. Not trying to convert anybody. I let people live and do what the fuck they do, and, you know, smoke their drugs and, you know, fight and do all of that, and I bless that. You know what I'm saying? That's part of the story, and even that has a position and a usefulness. You know, but camera ministry is basically because I don't use a flash, and, you know, I just kept finding myself telling people, yo, walk with me into the light. Right. Come with me into the light. And you know, I'd be driving home thinking about that statement, like, damn, I'm telling this person to come with me into the light.
Yeah.
But, you know, the light represents knowledge. You know what I'm saying? The light represents knowledge and understanding. You know what I'm saying? And on a whole metaphysical level, that's really what I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Take people back into their sanity. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, it's
Definitely
awesome,
what you said.
Okay.
I heard, go ahead.
Okay, shall I ask a question, Andrew?
Yes.
Okay, so Khalik, you told us before we aired that you have developed relationships with the people that you shoot, and that lately you've, you know, they started to know you, you know them. So how is that? How is that affecting your photography? I mean, now that you actually know those people, you're not shooting like you used to shoot before, like a street photographer that approaches someone and shoots candidly a person that they don't know. But now you actually know them. You actually know of them. You know their habits. So it's kind of more like documenting their lives now, isn't it? I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, it's more intimate this way. To me, I'm going deeper. I'm going, you know what I'm saying? I'm going deeper. Yo, I don't have any rules of photography, you know what I'm saying? I don't have any rules. You know what I mean? Listen, I only shoot film, but I don't care if people shoot digital or use whatever they use, disposable cameras, you know what I'm saying? Whatever they do, because there's really no rules to photography, you know what I'm saying? I got my own standards, but, you know, some people would say, yo, that's not street photography because you're positioning the people or you know them and, you know, it's not candid. Yo, these pictures are very candid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Even though I could stop a person and, you know, they know me, I know their name, it's still candid because I catch them doing exactly what they be doing anyway, and they're so familiar with me that it's like they're not putting on any front, and they're still keeping it 100. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's definitely what I get from the photos is that even though you may have moved them into the light, they still look like moments where they don't see the camera at all. It is just between you and them, or a very special moment.
Yeah, me and the camera are one. You know what I'm saying? If they saw me without the camera, they'd be worried. You know what I'm saying? They'd be real concerned for my health and my well-being. But what I want to say is it's like this. Like, listen, there's about 20 to 30 people who know me. You know what I'm saying? They call me cameraman. You know what I'm saying? Some of them, they don't know where I come from, where I live, where I rest. They don't know nothing because when I pop up, it's unpredictable. You know what I'm saying? One night, I come from this street. You know what I'm saying? The other night, I come out the subway. Sometimes I come from above. You know what I'm saying? It's all unpredictable. So these 20 or 30 people that I know on a first name basis, a lot of them are smoking drugs and shit. You know what I'm saying? They're caught up in their own life. So they don't know my first name. They don't know me as intimate as I know them. I know them more intimately because I come home and look at their pictures. And I have the mental Rolodex of this person's history and my relationship with this person. But on the other side of that, there's people that don't know me. There's people that just came straight out of jail. And they're like, yo, who the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, who's this? I'm so, like, comfortable at this point, I don't even got to answer that. Somebody else would be like, yo, that's Khalik. Yo, that's official 125th photographer right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But in the beginning, it was like I had to constantly, like, explain what I was doing and you know, constantly try to, because it was suspicious.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like it's a suspicious thing. You know what I mean? I think that suspicion is pretty much gone now.
Yeah. Thank you for your answer.
Yeah.
So was it sketchy at first, Khalik, when you first started doing that at 125th in Lexington? I mean, did it ever get hairy? You know.
Oh man, I got stories for days, man. I'm
Love to hear those.
I'm gonna write a book about it, man. No pictures, just a book. You know what I'm saying?
It's just a side question, Kelly. Can you take care of yourself? In the UK, it means that if someone approaches you aggressively, are you able to take care of yourself? Because I'm not, and then, so I don't go in. I don't go in for the personal.
I don't need to take care of myself physically, if that's what you mean, like by fighting. I mean, because listen, I'll explain it like this.
Okay.
Your safety lies in your defenselessness. By simply having no defenses, I have no defenses at all, I won't be attacked. If I was a big, crazy, muscular guy walking down the street, you know what I'm saying, like, then I may intimidate somebody.
Yeah.
But the way I come is very like it's like gaseous. It's like air. I come like a breeze. You know what I'm saying? Very soothing and calm. And I'm not coming in an argumentative or an adversarial way.
Yeah.
I'm coming in a peaceful way. You know what I'm saying? Even though I have had a few little, you know what I'm saying? I've never had to hit anybody, and nobody has ever had to hit me. You know what I mean? But I'm always watching my back anyway, because you never know. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
It sounds very exciting.
Awesome.
Lee.
Are you checking? Are you with us still, Kelly?
Yeah, I think I lost. I can hear
just
you now.
For a moment.
Yeah.
Right. Good.
So, Khalik, I remember that you use different film cameras, right? You've got a compact camera, you've got an SLR, and all of them you use film. You like the feeling that the film gives you. And I remember that in your video, in your film, you said that you develop your own film.
Yeah.
You develop your own black and whites, right?
Yes, sir.
I've seen your black and whites. It's great development. I've just started developing myself, and it's very interesting. It's magical, and I just wanted to ask you about the color. When you shoot color, have you also reached a stage where you develop the color films yourself, or do you use a lab for that?
I use a lab for the color film only because I never bought the chemicals. You know what I'm saying? Once you know how to develop film, black and white, it's the same thing for color. Color is a little bit more tedious because the temperature's got to be like really spot on, and you know your chemistry got to be perfect. I know that from researching it, but I've never developed the color. I scan it myself. You know what I'm saying? I'll just have them develop it and I'll pick it up. But they're killing me, man, with the prices. It's like almost $10 a roll just to get one roll of film developed. So. You know, I'm gonna get out of that. You know.
I know what you mean.
I'm not quite with Spiros on the film, or your good self with the film. Would that not just tell you to switch digital, or is there something romantic? What is it about the film that really pulls you towards it?
It's the emotion. You know what I'm saying? Film, you know, is dealing with silver. The emotion is made out of silver. So when the light hits emotion, those silver microscopic fragments of silver, they react to that light. You know what I'm saying? So it's really a direct language. It's really direct. When you're using digital, you got a sensor, and that sensor is electrical. You know what I'm saying? It's an electrical sensor, and when the light hits it, that has to kind of like translate what the light is. You know, whereas film is like more direct without that translation. But like I said, you know, digital is fine for people that want to shoot digital. Me, I'd rather go through the extra hurdle of shooting film because I don't like to see the pictures right away. I like to be more selective. I like the feeling of film. There's a certain nostalgic feeling that film brings about, which I don't feel digital does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it seems to marry with again is this sense of intimacy that runs throughout.
Right. It's intimate. To me, you know, the film is like, it's just more human to me. You know what I'm saying? It's more like, listen, you know the story of John Henry? You know, when John Henry was like trying to, bust through the cave, you know what I'm saying, with hammers and the machine, he was going up against the machine. You know what I'm saying? I'm like John Henry, yo. I'm like John Henry busting through a fucking wall of granite. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm just using my arms. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's coming through with a digital camera. They got the machine. They got the fucking. You know what I'm saying? They chiseling through quicker than me.
Love it.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna look up that story.
Oh, it's a great way of putting it, man. It's a great analogy.
Word. You know, listen. Go ahead.
No, you carry on. You carry on, my boy.
Film. I had another analogy. I was gonna hold it back, but I'll tell you what. Film is like having sex with a woman, and you know, releasing your seed inside of her and getting her pregnant that way. Digital is like artificial insemination. What else? Yeah, I'm fucking with y'all.
I'm sold. I'm gonna get a film camera. I need some company.
Oh, that's perfect, man.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about, Khalik. I shoot both digital and film depending on the situation and depending on the cash I have available, because film costs money, as you said before. And what I see is as the difference, except for the aesthetic difference you mentioned before, is that when I take a film photograph, I have to make the photograph in my mind before I take the photograph. But when I use a digital camera, I'm rest assured that the digital camera will take the photo, and then I can make the photograph later on Photoshop. And I think that when I make the photo in my mind and I shoot with film, it's like more creative as a process than shooting with film. Digital, sorry. Do you feel the same way about that?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I've never ever shot digital, so I'm really biased. I can't, you know, give you a good answer. I don't know what it's like to shoot digital.
Sexy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've only shot film, and I think I'll stay with film for the rest of my life. And listen, like I said, I'm a movie guy. I come from cinema. I come from filmmaking. And all my life, I've always wanted to shoot films on 35mm film or you know, Super 35, you know, and Super 16 and Super 8 film. So when I became a photographer, it was like, yo, this is my chance. This is my chance to shoot on film. I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to go and make a movie on 35mm film, you know what I'm saying, for cinema. Yeah. But I do have enough to go and shoot my street photography and my my portraiture with 35mm, so I'm gonna do that, you know.
Yeah, and I do animation on the side, so have a little interest in kind of that cinematography part of it. Now, do you think photography wins over cinematography when it comes to things like portraits? Because film it can give it to you in words and actions, but looking at the faces of your portraits, they're just stunning and personal.
I think it's like a Venn diagram, you know, when you got the two circles overlapping and they meet in the middle somewhere. There's certain things that a film could convey that a photograph alone, and there's certain things that a photograph could convey that a whole movie can't alone. So it has to do with obviously the different forms, but they complement each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
When I make a movie like Jamaica, obviously there's more that I want to say with a complete film than with just one or two pictures of Jamaica. You know what I mean? And in that movie, you see me doing like portraits, but video portraits in slow motion. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that has a different feeling than a straight up photograph would. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they each have their place. I like the type of films that you could watch on silent, no dialogue and nothing, no audio, and you can still follow the story.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I like my photography be that same way, to be direct, that you could just look at the picture and it's gonna make you feel something. You may not know the whole story, but it'll touch you so deeply that it'll make you project your own sentiment and your own history onto it. You know what I mean? People have told me that my photography made them cry. You know, and some people told me it made them like reminiscent of New York City. People that moved away and moved out the country and moved out the city. You know what I'm saying? And now they miss home because of my photography. So when I hear remarks like that, I know that it is cinematic. You know what I mean? I know that because movies touch me all the time. I got Netflix, you know what I'm saying? I got all the great films, and I study films. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
If a movie doesn't touch me in a certain way, not necessarily an emotional way, sometimes just on an intellectual level, if I don't get anything from that, then it's a bad film. You know what I mean? Same thing with a photograph. If I don't get any sort of, you know, internal feeling from it, then it's nothing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. At least that's my experience. That's how I gauge it, whether it's good or bad. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Very much so. You see, you know, just have turned back to Elephant Gun, who represent you at the moment, and just. I've been, while you were talking, had a look through 5 photos, and you know, for the viewers, I can't express how, you know, how much they do touch you. And is that because, you know, are you able to get this quite quickly? Are you able to, you know, spot the moment, or is it revisiting to try and, because I am virtually speechless, which is strange for me, Khalik.
It is. I can say it's strange for you, Casper.
Yeah, I struggle with the way to describe it because they do move me very much.
Listen, you gotta, you know, with me, it's you gotta kind of not, you know, be afraid of death or be afraid of anything. You know what I mean? And, you know, I used to skateboard, and I used to come down 10 steps on a rail. You know what I mean? And, you know, sometimes fall and, you know, mess my body up or whatever. And, you know, I got 2 older brothers and 2 younger brothers, you know, all boys. And we used to just punch each other in the head. Faces. You know what I mean? So I'm used to that. And on another level, you know, I've been in very deep relationships that, you know, become very emotionally taxing, you know, introspective, things that make you look deep into yourself, you know what I mean? And question your own judgment and your own behaviors at times, you know what I mean? So when I'm in the street, it's just like second nature now to get close to people fearlessly. And in that attempt of getting close to people fearlessly, that's when those pictures are. You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, I don't just take one picture of the person and move and keep it moving. Like I said, I develop lasting relationships, whereas I may see this person one day, I see them the next week, I take their picture again. I take 3 pictures, I take 4 pictures. Next month, I bump into them again. Oh shit, they just came out of jail. They got a story to tell me, yo, I was locked up for smoking K2. The police beat me up. And I document them, and I remember that story. And then I see them when they're healthy and when they're sick. So that level of intimacy is allowing me to get these type of photographs. It's not just like I'm hopping in and I'm out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was looking through it with a friend of mine prior to tonight, and there was a little thing I noticed, and I don't know if you notice it, is that the subtle difference between the distance of the photographs between male and female subjects is that the female subjects are slightly further away. Is that a conscious decision, or is it just respect and things?
No, it's not conscious. I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Oh, okay.
But I'll engage the question anyway. A lot of the times, you know what I'm saying, well, number one, I'm shooting at night, and a lot of these women if they don't live in the street, you know what I'm saying, they're a little kind of like standoffish. So the first thing I say to them is, I'm not hitting on you. You know what I mean? Because they're so used to being that's just catcalling them. So I have to come at them righteously. I have to respect them when I come forward to them. And oftentimes, you know, the female physique, I'm trying to capture that too. So if I'm a little bit far back, maybe I'm trying to get, you know what I'm saying, more. But at the same time, I try to get close, you know what I'm saying? It's different, you know what I mean? Lately, I've been shooting a lot more women because I was just looking at my work and I'm like, damn, you know, thug, crackhead, thug, drug dealer, killer, and I'm like, shit, I need some, you know, cotton candy, you know what I'm saying?
You need some balance.
You know what I'm saying? I need some of that, you know what I mean?
With you on that.
Khalik, I'm sure that many of our readers and viewers would be very interested in you sharing with us the type of film you use to get that feeling that comes through your photography. I've noticed that your photography has a consistent feeling. Those colors, everything is, you know, so cinematic and dreamy, and I was wondering if you could share with us what film you use and the combination with your camera as well.
All right. Yeah, no problem. I use Portra 160.
Okay.
And you know, a lot of people would never use such a low ISO film at night. You know what I mean? It's such a slow speed film, 160. But Portra is one of the best films going right now. I mean, there's no Kodachrome anymore, and I think that Portra really replaced that. You know, at least in my perception. The thing about the Portra film is that it retained details in people's skin, and it was also made specifically to be scanned. It wasn't. It's good to blow up in the darkroom, but I don't use a darkroom. I just scan my film on the Epson V700. And the Portra has high spanning capabilities. The thing about the low speed film at 160, I don't push it. I never push it. But the thing is, my lens, I got a 55mm 1.2.
That's nice.
In the wide aperture, you know what I'm saying? Look at how big, you know, the lens actually is. You know, the wide aperture, as long as I draw somebody into the light, will allow me to create an exposure. You know what I'm saying? If I had a 2.8 or 1.3, it'd be a tremendous difference compared to a 1.2. But what I do want to say also is for people to look forward to my new work as well, coming in the next couple of months, because I got a Voigtlander 0.95 lens. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So that's extremely quick, and that I'm gonna need to use some sort of adapter to mount that, because that's for the Lumix GH3 I have for my video camera.
So you shoot wide open now, 1.2.
I always shoot wide open. At night, I'm not, you know, playing with the camera, adjusting for exposure. I already know what it is. Shutter speed is 60 frames per second, 1/60th of a second, and the aperture is always 1.2, no matter where I go. If I go down to 1/30th of a second with the shutter, it's going to be way too blurry. You know, and if I go up to 80 or 125, it's going to be way too dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 60, that's my recipe. 1/60th of a second, aperture wide open.
Okay.
Yeah, it works. There is no doubt about that.
Very useful.
Go ahead, brother. Sorry.
I'm just saying it's very useful information. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. No doubt.
Wow, you know, we all come from different aspects of the photography, and mine is the image. Andrew's, I think, is storytelling, and Spiros is just a genius by himself. So it's we all have our own leaning for it, and as I say, for me, it's just that intimacy. I had never seen it before. You know, I've just been on Facebook to check out what's going on, to make sure it's all happening, and below you happens to be Bruce Gilden harping on about Magnum photography, and I really do get that kind of, you've not been necessarily influenced by Bruce Gilden because you don't use flash. There's something much more romantic about it. And do you think you've been able to take that step, been able to move the photographic circle on a little bit? Does that feed you at all, or is it just the people and the intimacy that feeds it?
I mean, I'm a photographer, you know what I'm saying? Photography doesn't define me, you know what I'm saying, as a person. It's something that I'm doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's something I'm doing. A life is a very short thing, and what we are, or what we think we are, is a very small part of what we are in reality. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the thoughts I think. I'm not the total sum of what I think. I'm even bigger than that, and I'm not this body that I'm physically inhabiting while I'm on the earth. I'm even than that. So what I'm doing with that body in time and space, in this continuum of the planet Earth, is really kind of like a joke. You know what I'm saying? But I engage and I take it seriously because you know, I'm here. You know, I got to do something to pass the time. But ultimately, I'm involved in my spiritual development. You know, ultimately, I'm involved in ascending beyond this world, beyond the planet, mentally and spiritually. You know what I'm saying? But to answer your question without going too far off, within the photography world, I want to have my own style. You know what I'm saying? I want to have my own. I want to further the sport. You know what I'm saying? I want to further the sport, and invite people to be original. You know what I mean? I want to invite people. I want to invite people like Bruce Gilden, who you mentioned. Nobody does that style. Who's walking around with a flash and getting hit in the face by women because he took their picture without permission like that? Bruce Gilden is all of that. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen anybody else, you know, act like him. You know what I'm saying? So you know.
That invitation to because we do have we're very much amateurs in the field compared, I would say, and we do have our rules, and we do try and work out what's best for our photography and so on. And the invitation to be open and distinct, that's where you come from. It's everybody should just push the boat out for wherever they like.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a hip hop junkie. I grew up, you know what I'm saying, under hip hop music. And you know, prior to like 1999, you know what I'm saying, every rapper, every MC was pretty much coming with their own style and being original. Really before money was introduced into the game, where you had to act a way to get paid, people were more trying to push the boundaries and have their own unique and distinct styles. You know what I'm saying? In hip hop. And I'm cut from that cloth, and I bring that into my photography. You know what I mean? I bring that into my photography where, you know, I want to have fun, I want to be original, and I want to like take it to a place where it really hasn't been taken to by anybody else.
Yeah.
Easily. So, do you have plans for more books, more films, more? I know there will be more photographs, but more of anything else?
Definitely. I'm working on my next film right now. If anybody ever seen my film Antonyms of Beauty, it's kind of like that, but at nighttime. You know what I mean? When I made Antonyms of Beauty, that came off of the cusp of one of those altercations that, you know, we were talking about earlier. You know what I'm saying? Like when I first started shooting on Lexington, I was shooting during the daytime. And I remember seeing a crackhead with a pacifier around her mouth, around her neck, and I started to photograph her. And when I was taking a picture, she gave me the finger. She gave me the middle finger. And I was like, yeah, keep giving me the finger, or put the pacifier in your mouth and give me the finger. And this dude, this guy who was an MTA officer, the MTA is the Metro and Transportation Authority. I think that's what it stands for. He was like, yo, brother, we don't want to be seen like that. We don't want to be seen like that. Don't take a picture like that. I'm like, yo, I'm going to document whatever I want. Like, I'm going to show the full 360. The positive, the negative, the neutral, everything that's going on in the street, I'm going to document that. So I began speaking to this brother, and I asked him what his name. Matter of fact, I knew his name because he said Mike. I'm like, yeah, Mike, da da da. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I was acting a little silly, but anyway, after that day, I didn't see him again for months passed, and then one night I'm in the street, and I'm taking pictures, and this is a while ago. This is before I came to develop these type of relationships. This is before people really embraced me out there. And he's going up to people. He's like, yo, this dude's working for the police. You know, this dude is working.
Right.
So one of the dudes that I knew out there, he came up to me. He's like, yo, this dude is telling everybody you're working with the police. So I was like, word. I'm like, okay. And it was late anyway. It was like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. I'd been out shooting since maybe 8 o'clock at night. So I started to leave, and I see him on the corner, and I'm like, yo, Mike, what's up, man? Yo, I remember you from we had an altercation a few months ago, man. I just want you to know it's all love, man. No negative energy between us. And he was like, yo, It's all good, but if I was you, I would get out of here, because these kids, they just said they're gonna hop you. They just said they're gonna beat you up. So I wanted to tell him that I knew that the only reason why they may feel that way is because you're lying, telling them I'm a cop. But I was just like, yo, thanks, man, thanks. I gave him a handshake and everything. I'm like, yo, thanks, man, thanks for looking out for me. So I went home. Matter of fact, I was driving on the FDR, and I had the music blasting. I had the windows down. I was like, yo, fuck this. You know, I was just upset. But I resolved myself to stay out of the neighborhood for like a month, but that didn't work. I came back like a week later.
Yeah.
And when I came back, it was like so early in the morning. It was like 5 in the morning, and the light was just coming up. And I said to myself, yo, let me do something different than what I'm doing, because at that point, it was just black and white night photography. That was even before the color photography.
Yeah.
And I said, let me just shoot color film during the daytime and during the morning specifically. And that's when I made Antonyms of Beauty. Antonyms of Beauty is shot during the morning with color film. And after like a month of doing that, then I took the color film with me into the night. And then that's how I started shooting with the color at night. But yeah, you know, that story with that mic is deep. You know what I'm saying? That like I said, similar way to how my brother was selfish and wouldn't give me his camera. It's similar with this guy Mike, who was, you know, trying to set it on me, but it just worked in my favor.
Do you still see Mike?
I don't see him anywhere, and he served this purpose. There's no need to see him.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one.
And what about Frenchie? You see Frenchie?
I think Frenchie is dead.
Ah, man.
I think Frenchie is dead, and I'm not sad. I'm not even taking it in a negative way. I think Frenchie is dead because me and Frenchie got a psychic connection with one another. We've communicated through dreams. You know, there's been times that I had a dream. I woke up and I was like, okay, I'll see you later. And I would come out and I would just bump into him, and we would spend 4 or 5 hours taking pictures. But I haven't seen Frenchie in about 5 months. And last time I seen him, he was in a really bad condition. And he was actually smoking K2 on the train. And we were riding the trains, and he was smoking on the train and getting into fights. And just the other day, I got like a feeling from him, like a I don't know how to say it, like he was trying to communicate with me and say, yo, I'm not. He didn't say I'm dead. He was just like, I'm not in my body anymore. At least that was the feeling I got mentally. That wasn't spoken with words, but that was the feeling I got because, like I said, we're on that level. And I'll just take it like we had a good run.
Right.
You know, we had a very good run. Man.
How did you develop that?
At the same time,
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the brother just walked up to me one night. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, like if he just popped out the concrete and walked up to me, I wouldn't be surprised at that either. But I think he's dead.
That's
you know, whatever that means.
Andrew was just about to say, how did that relationship develop? How did you get to know?
Yeah, that is a beautiful story. You know, with Frenchie, when I just began shooting, it was the winter of 2012, going into 2013, and that's when I really started shooting at nighttime in that area. And there were a bunch of brothers. I knew none of them, and they didn't know me, and I had the camera. So from the get-go, I looked suspicious. And I didn't care anyway. I wanted to build relationships and break down these walls, you know. And I walked into them. It was a circle of them, and I walked right into them. And I was just like, yo, I'm a photographer. I'm working on a book. Can I take your pictures? Can I take your portraits? And they started doing all these blood signs and all this shit. And I started taking their pictures. But let me backtrack real quick on the story real quick.
Yeah.
Before that night, before that happened, with the congregation of those young brothers, before that happened, I came out one night at about 11 at night, and I shot from like to 7 in the morning, all night, from like 11 to 7 a.m. And I had a flash, and that's when I was first beginning the nighttime shit. I still had a flash, and I walked into a congregation of crackheads at about 3 in the morning, and I took a picture, boom, and the flash went off, and all of them just fucking scattered like roaches. You know, I'm sorry to use that analogy like roaches, but for real, that's how they move. They just dip when the light came on.
Yeah.
But when I looked at the film, there was one dude with his hands up like this, like, you know, and I come to find out later that was Frenchie.
I've seen that picture.
Yeah, yes. So what happened is, now fast forward maybe 3 weeks, and it's maybe like 10 at night, and I walk into this group of young brothers smoking K2 and throwing up blood signs and shit. They had a big blunt that was like this long, and they were passing it around to each other. And when it got to this small, they passed it to this one dude who had a hood over his head. I couldn't see his face. And when he went to go hit it, it was so small that he couldn't put it to his lips, and he had to bring it up to his nose like cocaine and go, you know, and inhale it through his nostrils. And when I looked at him, I'm like, oh shit, that's the same guy with his hands up. And just my sympathy, my compassion just flooded me. It just like overtook me, and I was like, damn, you know, this dude is ill. They didn't even shit the blunt. You know what I'm saying? They had to wait until it was that small to pass it to him. So I'm like, yo, once I got that film developed and I started to see those pictures and what type of character he was, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna document him. Every time I see him, I'm gonna make it my business to take pictures of him. And that evolved into, you know, us becoming great friends. But I also want to make this statement as well. I didn't know he was coherent. I was taking pictures of him for a very long time before we ever had a real conversation. And I believe that played into us developing a psychic relationship, because we were doing work together, but without words. Right. And then after, I made a movie called Urban Rashomon. That whole time we didn't speak. We had no conversation. But after like 6 months of working with them, that morning that I started shooting Antonyms of Beauty, I took him out for breakfast. I saw him on the street, and I was like, yo, wake up, brother. Come on, let's go take some pictures. And I tried to give him some money. I tried to give him like $5. He was like, yo, I don't want money. I want something to eat. So I took him into this little like ghetto type of IHOP. And you know, we sat down, and the guy wanted us to take the food and leave. But I was like, yo, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so we sat down, and when we sat down, we just started talking. And I was like, damn, you could form sentences. You know? And it was just my ignorance of thinking that he was just a crackhead. Listen, crackheads are regular people too. You know, listen, nothing could override the human spirit. You know what I'm saying? Nothing could override the human intelligence, not even drugs. And that's something that I learned from these intimate interactions with Frenchie. You know, and from that point on, then we started talking to one another, and I learned his real name is Manus Dusso. He's a Haitian, and he's 53 years old. Right now, he's 54. He's, you know, probably dead, like I said, but he would be 54 right now. So yeah, me and him, within like a 2-year span or a 1.5-year span, did a lot of work, and you know, it's just one of those like powerful bonds that I have with people in this world. You know what I'm saying? At this time, you know.
So when you did Rashomon, you weren't even talking to Frenchie at that point?
No. The most I said to him. The most I said to him was walk with me over into the light.
Is that the one at the end? Forgive me, I forget because I watched a bunch of your stuff all at once. Where he's singing like at the end?
Yes.
Yeah. So you guys weren't even talking. That's incredible, man.
No, he's singing at the end of Films of Beauty. Rashomon is all black and white.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. To build that kind of connection, that's powerful, man.
Yeah, honestly, on many levels, I'm absolutely. I just want to put my camera away. Really? No, I'm not, I know, and I know you wouldn't make that assumption, but it really is. It's been one of the most enlightening interviews, chats, whatever that we've had on this. I can't thank you enough. I'm sure Spiros and Andrew can't thank you enough. Brilliant.
I'd still like to ask Khalik some questions if there is time.
There are a few minutes. There's always a few minutes for people, I'm sure.
Okay, Khalik, what is the best advice you have ever got concerning what you do at the moment?
The best advice that I've got is to deal with people head on. You know, with an open mind and come at people head on. You know what I'm saying? If you got beef, there's been times I had little altercations, and then I seen the person the next week. I'll just dead that negative energy right away. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to leave any open-ended beef. You know what I'm saying? Anything that I've ever had, I just, you know what I'm saying, we did it right away. We pieced it up. You know what I'm saying? A few people, like I said, was suspicious camera. Listen, I got a fix Book of Prince. This is what the advice I would give you if you want to develop relationships with people. Take their picture and then show it to them. Because by walking around with this book, there's been people that said, oh, I know her. She's smoking crack now. Yo, he's dead. Yo, she's in the hospital. Yo, that's my cousin. Yo, that's my father right there. If you take a picture and people could relate on that level, like, damn, that's my relative, or they could tell you a further story for your own knowledge, like, yo, that person is dead, or that person just smoking crack or whatever, then they begin to see that you're sincere and that you're honest. And I always tell the people that the only other camera out here, I don't see other photographers where I shoot. I only see surveillance cameras.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're documenting you 24/7. You know what I'm saying? Don't hate me for coming around with the camera, and then also when I'm showing the people the prints, they love me now. They're like, damn, this brother. And I tell them too, I could be doing other shit. I could be shooting American Apparel, women with their breast out. You know what I'm saying? And all of this. I love that. I love that form of photography too. That's just not what I do. And that type of sincerity and earnestness goes a long way. So that's my advice.
Okay, and you've been doing this for quite a while now, it's clear that it's your passion. What's the plan? I mean, where do you see yourself in a few years, or what's the plan? That's the question generally.
Yo, you know what I'm saying? I'm a person that really trusts You know what I'm saying? God is within me. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I just trust in that. I trust in the God within me. I trust in the light within me. Listen, it says in the book of Matthew in the Bible, and I'm not religious, but you know, on the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus is talking to the apostles, and he says that you wouldn't put a candle on the ground. You know what I mean? In a dark room, you will put a candle somewhere high so that its light could, you know, fill the room up. So all I do is I focus on the light within me, and I trust that that light is going to warrant me to be raised up, you know, to extreme heights.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Does that go back to, I remember reading, Khalik, you said that photography is your inside joke with God.
Yeah. Photography is my inside joke with God because time is an illusion. You know, time and space are the same thing in different forms, you know, but they're both constructs, you know what I mean? And they enable us to live in a physical world. I really think that this world is an illusion totally anyhow. You know, I feel that this is just a dream. I'm really universal mind way beyond this sphere, and this is a fragment of my imagination. I don't view the world as being outside of me. I view it as going on in my mind. You know what I mean? So when I'm taking pictures and I'm acting like this is very serious, or this is very meaningful, or this is very important, I just have a feeling like God is kind of laughing at that. So it's like an inside joke with God.
Oh.
It seems that Casper dropped out. Maybe his computer's logged off. That's okay. He'll be back in a minute. Andrew, did you want to ask something?
Yeah. How do you join an elephant gun? How does that how'd that come about, and what's that doing for you?
Yeah, elephant gun. I've been with David for a while, and he kept just saying, "Yo, let's do this interview. Let's do this interview. Let's do this shit." I'm like, "Yo, no doubt, let's do it. Let's do it." And then he's like, "Yo, why don't you join Elephant Gun?" And I looked at their work, and I was like, "Yo, you know, I like their style. You know, let's do it." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm also part, and I want to shout out the Film Shooters Collective, the collective people that just shoot exclusively on film. And you know, I'm down to work with anybody, man. You know what I'm saying? Elephant Gun, they've been doing a lot for me. They've been pumping my work out, and I need that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Much love to them. Much love to my boy David. I just met a cat named Fabrizio that came from Bali. He's an Italian guy. You know, shout out to Fabrizio. You know, so yeah.
Good stuff, man. I mean, that's cool. Now, you gonna have any shows coming up? Anything big cooking on the next couple months?
Listen, man. And people in Germany, man, I don't know what it is about that country, but they're constantly getting at me saying, "Yo, I want you to do a show out here. Let's do this show." And it's always Germans for some reason, and French people too. French people always like, "Yo, let's do this show in Paris or whatever." I'm down to do it. Just let me know what I gotta do. If I gotta make prints, if I gotta fly out there, whatever, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to make that step into selling prints and getting my work on gallery walls and all of that. But I don't sweat it. I'm not really like dire, you know, like, oh shit, I gotta do it. I'm focused on what I got on my plate right now, and that's just like loving what I'm doing, taking pictures, keeping it sincere. So I hope, you know, like I said about the light, it'll be raised up on its own. You know what I'm saying? When that time comes, I've only been taking pictures for 4 years now. You know what I'm saying? So to be at the level I'm at now, I think is a blessing. I'm privileged.
Khalik, we seem to have someone else joining us. Martin.
Yeah.
Hello, Martin. There has been a little mix-up with the time because of the British saving time, and the event went 1 hour before. This is we've been talking to Khalik, and he's been explaining about his work. Martin is a Street Hunter member. Khalik, he's from Germany.
Yo, Martin, what's good, man?
Yeah, I'm following you on Tumblr.
Yeah.
So I missed the event.
Well, the event.
I can't hear you too well, brother.
The event is.
Say it again.
Martin was just saying he follows you on Tumblr and enjoys your work.
I do, yeah.
Thank you.
I can't help but notice. I gotta ask, are you selling them T-shirts, man?
Yo, I just got this made as a test. But yo, I'm gonna start selling them. You know what I'm saying? In a minute. You know, if you want one, just send me the picture you want.
Yes, indeed, man. But I think, like you said about going up to light. Your work's on its way, man. I mean, it's only a matter of time till you're everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I think you're there, and now you're. I don't mean to trivialize, but the gospel is being spread. You know what I'm saying? For you, and I think that it's. I see books. I see you just being huge, man. Just huge.
Listen, once I release my first book, it's just gonna be like an avalanche of books because I got thousands of photographs. I got so much work that is